Hello, M.Strange here. So in this one, since we decided we are going to make a little ridiculous short film, this is where we're going to be laying out and lighting our set. So we're going to take the things we're making, and I think just to speed it up and to make things less complex, I'm going to delete this active block, so the one where the parts of the trees were actually moving, just to make it simpler. Let's get rid of that. So what we're going to do is just a really simple set, nothing too complicated. So let's go, we're just going to have a set where there's going to be a flat area in the middle, a smaller one, how about something like that? And this is where our campfire is going to be, where the stuff's going to take place, and it'll be, well, let's see, what can we do? Maybe mostly flat. We could do it almost all the way flat or something like that. So maybe a little meh. What do you think? Okay, yeah, if our people, and this is a kind of a good thing too, like this is what I do, that's obviously too big. I bring in one of these figures that, and then I scale it down to like think about like what's the scale going to be of the characters I have and I'm going to put in here, right? Then I kind of look at it and then I'm like, why is this levitating? Let's see, who is levitating? You are. Let's say that red line is the ground. Maybe we make whatever we want the ground. So then I go in here and like, or you can actually do it a little more accurate and grab a camera and turn it to like a lens size that you're likely to use. I like using 24s. Something like this. It's like, you know, just to get an idea of how it's going to work. So let's say if it was closer like that. So if this was our character size, something like this, you know, it's like, okay, maybe it would be better. Oh, I still have that problem because I didn't restart my computer yet. Oops. That's what I get. I probably should have restarted my computer so I can scale things in all axes, but sorry about that. So let's say, you know, can we have our monster come out of something like that, something that size? Maybe so. We'll keep it really simple. So okay, so we like this sizing. These people are going to be in the middle of this valley or something for some reason. But to make it more interesting, let's rotate this so there's more trees on this side. So we give something, our monster, something to hide in, maybe. Then all I'm going to do is duplicate that and rotate it 90 degrees and then put it like, let's see. And then see where these overlap and do this stuff. We can use the magnet tool after to like push that down and do stuff. But what we want to do is just get like a rough surrounding for this little space, and then we can go and fix all these little seams and stuff like that. So then, and you may be wondering like, wait, all you're doing is copying and rotating it, like aren't you going to be able to see the tiled thing or whatever? And surprisingly, you usually don't. If you're pretty tricky about it, you don't notice it. Like if you were here, you know, and obviously you're not going to have many shots where you go like this, but even that, it's hard to, since it's in 3D and there's all this stuff going on, it's kind of hard to pick up on the repetition. Like no one's going to notice. And I mean, we still have to light it and do stuff like that. So we have a couple of these, and right now I still have these trees and cloners, and it slows the scene down, but when they're in them like that, that means they can still be affected by dynamics. We still have some options for stuff we're going to do with them. So let's make 2 rows of these these little landscape blocks. So we're going to have these here, and then we're going to put some out here too. So the ones here, let's call this inner ring. We're going to keep these cloners active because maybe we're going to want the monster to knock the trees over or do something. I don't know yet. And then we're going to duplicate this and call it outer ring. And then these we can go ahead, a quick way to make all of those cloners geometry is just to do select children on this one and press C. So now they're all objects. And to speed things up even more, let's go select children and then connect plus delete, and then we can get rid of all these tags like that, and then get rid of this selection. And we don't really care what it looks like because these are going to be far away. We can get rid of that. So now this is just kind of like clean up. Select children, connect plus delete, because actually all these tags take up memory too. So if you're really trying to optimize your scene, and this may seem like super rough to some people, like what, you're just randomly going in here and deleting stuff and connecting it without even looking at it. And this is kind of the way I work. It's like I'm not going to make problems for myself if there aren't any. So it's like, yeah, maybe there could be some projection problems because I didn't even change the textures, I just left them on there. But the way I work with 3D, it's like, if you're gonna I try not to worry about problems until I hit the problems. So until I get a problem with something, I'm not gonna just I'm not gonna start taking precautions to prevent this problem that could happen, because if you do that in 3D you can go nuts because there's so much stuff you can do. So I just kind of work and just keep going and pushing ahead and getting it to the way I look until I hit a problem, and then when I do, I deal with it. But until then I kind of just assume it's going to work, and surprisingly most of the time it does. So now we have these blocks which will speed things up a lot. And then how about we just kind of rotate them here. Let's take this one and go like this, and take this one. So this will just give us kind of the look of like a bigger scene. And yeah, you could do this with matte paintings or something, but I don't know. When you're working alone, I try to do as much as I can in 3D to keep my passes simple, and so when I get in the compositing phase I don't have to tweak with it much. And like I started with After Effects, and I guess I used to be the most comfortable with After Effects, and I still am. I still know how to like tweak and do all kinds of crazy stuff in After Effects, but I kind of just like doing as much as I can in a straight render. And then let's see, let's go ahead, and this is outer ring, this is the other one. Let's call this far ring. And then this one, I want to scale it up, but it's going to be a biatch because I forgot to reboot, so I'm going to have to scale it in all axes like the same. Oops. Yeah. Sure. I'm just making this, I just want to make these a little bigger, so kind of do some cheating so that you can see them better, maybe like that, because you're not going to see where they touch the floor anyway. And then maybe let's rotate them to see what looks best, but let's rotate it right here just so we get some glimpses of those when we move around. So it just kind of gives the viewer's mind the thought that there's like stuff, so it's like a bigger place than it really is. And then we're going to use the lighting to really finish that illusion. So this, firstly, you can see that these are different pieces. So let's just go and just see what taking our material, let's actually turn the materials on. Now already it's like, okay, yeah, that's far from perfect, but we can just kind of, there's a couple options you have when doing this. Like the most accurate, like we can just do something like this and then look and see like you can see some seams over here and over there, which this will work after we light it or whatever, but let's just go and let me show you just a ghetto way of doing it. So there are no seams here. So it's pretty simple, right? Like, what do you think? How would you do that? But before we do that, let's go Because see how it has these like straight hard edges like that? So that's definitely not natural, right? So we want to go and just, let's see, what does this need to go, up or down? Go pull this thing in. Oh, it needs to come up. Let's just do this to get rid of these hard edges or those straight edges, because nature doesn't do that very much. And I know you're probably saying, well, this doesn't look real at all, blah blah, so why do you care? But you know, I do stylized stuff, so you know, I try a little bit, but I don't go too far because I don't care. And I don't think the viewer cares either, especially when you're doing alternate worlds in different places, you know, they don't care. So here's the inner ring. So the easy way to do it would be to take these landscape objects and just make them all one and then apply a texture to them. But one of the problems we have is that, you remember, these trees that I want to keep active are using this landscape, right? So what we can do is make copies of them and then just turn off the ones that the cloners are using so we don't disturb anything, and then we can go ahead and delete these textures and then take, oops, I'm missing one. Which one am I missing? Yeah, I'm missing you. Come to our party where we're going to take your identity. So we do that. So now we take all these and the one here, and then we can just go run the connect and delete on those. So now they're all the same thing. And these, get rid of the selection. So now they're all the same, but we just need to switch it from UV to cubic and then go find the size that we want. Whoa, it's like stretching over the world. So now it's stretched over everything and there's no seam, so that's more of what we want. So now we have the middle of our set, right? So let's go ahead and grab that campfire that you made, and I'm going to leave, actually we'll take the plane out of there, we don't need that. I just put everything in here and we have our little light that's flickering like campfire or just glowing a little bit. And I just went into the Cinema 4D, oops, I just went into the Cinema 4D preset materials that come with it, and I applied this pine wood material that I didn't put on in the right way. Let's try to fix that. It should be, what, spherical? Something like that, smaller? No, cylindrical, duh. Cylindrical? Okay, something, it's not, it's like pretty jacked up, but we don't care. It's like it's better than just nothing. Because, yeah, I mean, you can spend the time like getting one piece of wood and then taking it in a ZBrush or Sculptiris, and then like sculpting it into real looking wood or whatever, and then bring it in here and cloning it, but I'll let you go do that. I'm just going to show you the building blocks, or like the basic, oh my god, it's the world's biggest fire. So let's scale this fire down to about that big. There's a little fire in the middle of our set. And we'll just rotate it or something so it doesn't look like it's going in the ground too badly. Something like that. Okay. So now we have our campfire. Okay, there's our campfire. Here's our stand-in that we're paying $500 a day, just stand there, or like $5,000 a day. Just wonder where our budget went. And so now let's just add a couple other things. Let's get some rocks. So these are just the rocks I had made with a couple rock textures that I made from. So you can just go online and get like rock textures, or I'm sure if you just look for free Cinema 4D shaders or free Cinema 4D textures, you'll find. Why are these still on there? you'll find a bunch of free ones. So let's take some of these rocks and put them in here. We could use a cloner again to put these on, but let's just, maybe they're like huge rocks, because actually that monster is going to need something to hide behind, right? So maybe they're like really big rocks that are kind of, maybe this was like an old quarry or something, so there's like rocks around here. So let's just go, and we can just do it like this first. Just be like, there's a rock over here, then we can switch into the other view. So this is usually the way I work. Like, I'll have my main camera view, like that is the camera that's going to frame the shot. Then I usually have the top view, and then I just have another perspective view that's kind of free. And then this one's usually like, yeah, straight side like that. So we can go into the top. This rock, we'll rotate it. This one, is that where we want it? Because, you know, I use this one so it stays in place, frames a shot. This perspective I use so I can click on the object and press O and go frame it, so then I can go to where it is. Because if you do that with your main camera, then it's jumping, it's messing up your framing, you know. So, and then this one is like a big rock. It will break your window. Watch out. So let's see. Let's look around. Dun, dun, dun. There's rocks. There's another big rock. Stuff could be hiding behind those rocks. And then just to give it some more, I forgot what this is called. There's like an actual principle that this is, and it has something to do with that iceberg principle that they talk about for screenwriting. Like, you only show the 10% above water and you allude to the 90%. So we don't want to show, you know, we don't want to put a million objects in the scene, but we want to kind of make the viewer's mind think that this scene or this set is a lot bigger than it looks like. So, I mean, we'll do this, you know, we're adding these stones and stuff, and we want the viewer's mind to like fill in the blanks and be like, whoa, there's that many stones there, so there must be, you know, this meant, you know, a lot more. So that's what we're doing. Let's bring this one up, put that one there. This stone, oh, here's the stone I was looking for. Should put a stone on top of a hill or up here. Sure, it's like embedded. And then this one can go over here. And see, I'm just trying to distribute them kind of evenly but randomly, because I could have done the cloner thing too. But and there's also like the plugin I told you about last tutorial that I use is Surface Spread. So it actually has a plugin just to make rocks for your landscapes, and then you can actually use a landscape object too, Spreadscape. So you can make your hills with Surface Spread, make your rocks, and then use the Surface Spread object to distribute your trees or anything you want, and it works really good. So that's what I used for my last film. But I'm gonna try not to stay away, try to stay away from too many, you know, plugins you have to buy. But you know what? I'm gonna go back and change something now, because the lack of magma on these logs is really bothering me. So let's add like some magma texture on here or something. Forget this pine. It sucks anyway. Yes, I'm all like nihilistic now. I'm like, whatever, it just sucks. We need some magma. So let's go. We want luminance because we want it to self-illuminate, but we don't want just straight up. Or actually, maybe we do. Yeah. What we're gonna do, we want it to glow like that. So let's put that on our. Oh, here's another way you can do this. So instead of going and dropping this on all the textures, what you can do in 11.5, I think it started, is click on the texture you want to replace, then go, you know, hover above the one that you want to replace it with, and hold down Alt, and then just drag and drop it on it, and then it replaces it. But as you can see, this is just kind of like red hot, which we don't want because it's not molten metal. we want it to have some variation like wood would have or something. So when you want natural stuff, you usually always go for noise. And that is kind of true for textures, and when you're adding those vibrate tags like I showed you, that's like adding noise too. So noise works wonder. Nature is like made of noise. Noise, noise, noise. Scale it up. First turn the channel on, duh. Let's switch it to multiply because that does something magical. So if we look at it, that did nothing because we have to set it to affect luminance. I'm a really smart guy today. So that does a little bit, but not the way we want to. So scale it down. You can see it kind of adds this black stuff to it. A little better. But let's try a different type of noise. How about gaseous? Okay, that looks a little more natural or something. So that's getting closer. So let's scale it down a little bit more. And you can do a ton of stuff with noise. Like noise is pretty magical. So that's actually pretty good. It's better than it was before. Brighter. And then we can actually go in and tweak with the brightness and contrast, but I think they call it, what do they call it in here? The low clip, high clip. So here's the preview of the noise. And I think we can change that size too. Yeah, you can just right click and go huge. And I think that's the high clip. So this will make the whites whiter, so then it'll show through even more. So something like that. Okay, that's better for our fire. And then you can animate the noises too. So let's try something, because it might look like, when those things are on fire, they kind of like pulsate or something. So let's right click and go animate. Move! Why aren't you moving? Oh, animation speed 5. Okay, that's a little too fast. How about 1? Yeah, that might be cool. How about something like that? Let's turn this off. And we can actually show it in the viewport if we go to illumination, no, editor, animate preview. So then when we scrub through it, it should be animated. It's on fire. It's magma wood. What do you think? Is that good magma wood? It's kind of creepy. Yeah, it's better than it was before. So now we have the animated magma wood, and we can go on. Now I can move on with the rest of my life. We can move on with the rest of our lives now that we have magma wood, and let's light the rest of the set. Actually, we're not ready to move on with our lives yet. We still have some things to do with this fire. First of all, I need to put this goddamn light like in the center of it. And then also, what do you think? We should have like some sparks or something coming off of it, like going up into the sky. And we can try 2 different ways to do that. First way, we'll try with irregular particles. So let's point this thing up to the sky, because they move, the particles move on the z-axis. They go up the z-axis. We can go into top view, zoom, 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 like we're on Google Maps. Okay. Let's put it right here, and you see if you press play, it's going to shoot some really slow, actually they're not that slow, some particles out like that. Tune, 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 tune. As you can already see, it's coming out from like out and around the fire. So what we can do is, firstly, let's turn these up. So what this is how many particles it's going to show in your editor, and this is how many particles it's going to render. So you could show 10 and then render 1,000 or something, because 1,000 playing back would slow down your system. Then in here, let's just set it to like 240, because it's going to be burning all the time and we never want it to turn off. We'll add some variation to the speed. Oops, just like 20%. Rotation is great. Yes, yes. Lifetime. Live forever. And with the emitter, let's make it smaller, like half the size, but let's give it some angles so then they come out at an angle. So you can see it already has a little more variation, and I think it's too fast, right? The speed would be like 50. something like that, right? If it was a real fire. Let's, well, because it totally looks like a real fire. Hey, what can I change you? No, 210. Let's give it more frames so we can look at our majestic particles. Okay, but right now they're doing nothing, right? It's just for display. So we're going to try a couple things, and I don't even know if we're going to end up using them, but I just want to show you some options. So if you wanted to add some more variation to these particles, you can use these particle fields. So they all do what they say here. Let's try some rotation. And so here's our rotation field. So it's like this big. And you'll see what happens when I turn it on. Oh my god. We don't want them going that way. We want them going this way. So maybe when the monster shows up, it'll be like whoosh, you know. But if we turn down the angle speed, oops, I said down finger, then, you know, it's a lot more subtle. So we can do that, and how about a little more? How about like that? Yeah, that's pretty good, right? And then see, now it's kind of regular. They're just moving in like perfect circles, like the band. So let's add some turbulence. This is like craziness. This is like adding like a 2-year-old going meh, 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 like, in, you know, hitting pots and pans and stuff into your scene. We need more turbulence strength. Yes. So now they're a lot more random from our magma wood. And there's a couple ways we could do this. We could get a light. Get a light and make it, what color should it be? Matching the magma, you think? And we can make it a visible light, and we can turn this on, make its distance, make it a little light, right? Because there's going to be a bunch of them. Make it illuminate nothing, because if we try to make it illuminate stuff, it will, but it'll take a billion years to render and we'll all die. So let's just go like this, and now, click on show objects and it'll actually show the lights. So you see now it's emitting lights. I don't know if this is going to work. I just, you know, we can try it. So now it looks like that, which isn't bad, right? Unless, well, I'm sure someone out there, like some hardcore 3D person, is like, that looks terrible. I'll never get hired by Pixar by doing that. And yeah, you're probably right, guy, but that's not what we're about in these tutorials. We're just, you know, doing this for fun and showing you the process. So we have these little lights. We could also do this in post with After Effects or a plugin like Trapcode Particle or something. But I just want to show you a bunch of different ways to do stuff. So we could do that, but how about we go and make a polygon. Where art thou, polygon? And let's make this polygon editable, get one of its points, and just kind of give it a shape, a kind of random bent shape or something. Something like that, that is cosmically perfect, that follows the laws of sacred geometry, and it will make your energy field spin at some super speed and you'll become heavenly. Okay, let's scale it down like that, because these are just little tiny pieces of stuff. Let's put it in there. You can see them. You see them floating around there? That's still too big. Smaller, like that. And then let's copy our magma thing, but turn off the diffusion, so it's just a little glowy piece. And then let's copy that on there. And then let's go like this. And let's see what that looks like. So we have some little bits flying around too, which is weird because I put them in the lights, so they should like stay in there, I would assume. But it kind of looks more natural, I guess, like that. So we have that, like that's an option. I don't know. We could just take the light out and see what it looks like with just the little polygons, like that. And then actually we can try adding some glow to them too. Let's see what they look like with some glow. Put the glow. Oh, come on, glow. Radius 50, or is the radius too small or something? Huh. Maybe the glow cannot work. Object glow. Yes, it is on. Maybe there's some evil force stopping us. Maybe that's what it is. Oh, there it goes. See the glow? There's just like a little bit. It's because it was too big. Let's go with 3, but like 800 or something. What will that do? And see, glow's a post effect, so it does it after like your render, and then it applies it. So these are just things I'm trying just to show you some options. I don't know if we're going to keep them or even do it, so that doesn't look that bad. Let's try 1. Random 50. I don't even know what that randomness does, but okay, that actually looks better. So we have that. That's one way we can do it, and it'll look pretty good in the render. But the only thing I don't like is that, as you see, they start from 0, and it takes like 113 frames or something for them to get up like this. So, you know, we don't want to have to pre-roll every shot, right? So that we have to wait like forever for these things to come up. So, you know, and if you're doing this in After Effects, there's tricks where you can like pre-roll them and stuff like that, and you could try to go like start emission minus 120, but I don't think this works. No, it doesn't. So, what are the options? We could go into our timeline and move and cheat and move it ahead so that we're really starting at 113 instead of 0, but I think that's kind of a biatch, so I don't know if we want to do that. So how about we try an entirely different way of making these particles come out. So let's get rid of you and you and you. You can go over here, but that's just a different way you can do stuff if you've never used the particles before. Maybe I showed you something. So let's just go and get some splines. Maybe a helix. Okay, let's get this helix spline, and this will be a more stylized kind of trail of embers. So I'm going to actually use MoGraph to make them. So let's see, height. That looks like you know, a path that little embers would travel on, right? Something like that. So let's get this helix. Let's make it editable. Let's move this over closer to where it comes out. And then first things first, we want to make more of these. Of these. So let's clone them. Not that way, but actually let's go radial. And what are you doing? What are you doing, cloner? We're gonna have to rotate these. No, wrong way. That way? No. Like this. Okay. Minus 90. So now we have a little circle of these guys, right? But let's go adjust the radius so they're like this. Maybe a little bigger, right? Like that. How about that? So how high are they going? Just high enough for our fire. Okay. Then we want to use all these splines, so I'm going to press C so that we have all these splines. And then now we can make another MoGraph cloner, and let's call this Ember 1, and switch it into object mode. Use our spline as an object, and then just so we can see it better, I'm going to use a bigger object to visualize our embers, because the embers are pretty tiny. So I'm going to put the cube inside of it, and I'm going to press play, and nothing's going to happen, and I'm going to cry. So then what we want to do is turn up this rate here. Check this out. It has this built in. So when we just turn this rate on, it automatically shoots out these things, which would be our embers, right? Offset doesn't do anything. We want rate variation. So this will change the speed at which they're coming out and moving. So you can see it makes them more random, right? Change the rate, change the count, something like that. No, that's too many. Something like that. We don't want it that varied. So those will be our little embers. And then all we have to do is go and make a bunch of those cloners. But before we do that, how about we add some randomness to them, just because, you know, it helps so much. Not that much random. Just a little bit. Like that, and like that. I'm telling you, these random effectors are magical. And unlike the other one, we can actually, I think we could change the scale in the regular particle effector too. I shouldn't say that. Let's change some rotation, although yeah, it randomizes the rotation. So now we have it looking a little more organic, and that's what we want. So let's go ahead and put our little polygon guy in there, and then play this back. And actually, looking at it, we need more. How about like that? Now this is just one stream, so we're going to do a bunch of streams. So let's do about 60. And so now all we have to do is, so we're using spline 0, so let's go and then switch this to spline 1, duplicate it, switch it to spline 2, duplicate it, switch it, duplicate it, switch it to spline 3, duplicate it, switch it to spline 4. So now, and you see this starts like right at 0. We don't have to wait for it. And it has kind of like a nice look, whatever. And there's still more, because we can still add some more variation by, guess how? Adding vibrate tags to the splines. Going into rotation, and let's see. See that? Let's maybe do that. And maybe, do we want a regular pulse? No. Oh no, I crashed it. Should I show you how to recover from a crash? Because Cinema 4D is really good at helping you like that. You just go into, actually I have a shortcut, because it crashes sometimes and I saved it. I'll show you where this is after. You can make a shortcut for yourself. So here's the directory, and if I open this file, this is the one we were just working on that I murdered the world with. It will open in just a second, because this NVIDIA graphics card likes to make me wait, because it knows that makes me angry. And I'll soon turn it into magma by overclocking it beyond. Yeah, okay, enough. Just open my Cinema 4D already. So yeah, probably like that can happen sometimes if you're playing it back and like changing a bunch of stuff. So if you saw, I was like playing, what is this? No. Oh, stop. So that probably happened because I was playing the file back and changing this stuff. So if you're going to make those changes, you probably shouldn't do that, or it will crash like you saw. So let's go put this back where it should be. In here, in here, in here. Yeah, sure. Yeah, sure. Let's put it in there. But the way you find that place is go to Edit, Preferences, and then see this? Your preferences are stored here, Open folder. Open this folder, and then you can save a shortcut to here, so if it crashes you can go right in here, because you know you have to wait till you can open the program to get back in here. But yeah, this is where it is. So that can save you sometimes. Okay, so now we have this going on, and I think that's pretty good for our embers. It might have looked better or more, it looked more real with the other one. I mean, we could do that, like it's just because these are really regular splines, so you could go in here and like draw splines and draw all your paths, and that will look more natural. You'd probably draw about 8 or 9 of them. But I chose this way because of the pre-roll issue, because as you can see right from frame 0 there's already embers, so I'm just going to leave it at that. But I'll just kind of show you some of the options that you can do too to crash your computer. Alright, let's move on with the tutorial. Jump back. I'm like jumping back in time, so like I had finished it and then I went back and like, no, I want to magma that wood and like do this stuff or whatever. So let's go back to the rest of the tutorial. Okay, so now here we are with our scene where we just have the light for our campfire. And now let's just start with kind of to get our framing down, just to frame like an average shot in this short film that I'm yet to write, so I'm doing it backwards. But you know, I started on this late, so let's just see. Let's render that. Okay, maybe, yeah, this is a good shot. So a really cheap way to do kind of like, I guess, a little bit of atmospheric fog or something, and I'm doing this and trying to use as few lights as possible. So let's make a spotlight, and let's make it like a bluish spotlight, and this is going to be a real subtle kind of foggy or atmospheric looking light. I'm not trying to do like billowing fog that moves or something. And let's go down to like there. Let's make it visible. So there's two types of visible light in Cinema 4D. There's visible and volumetric. So visible is like a fake one. It's fake volumetrics because you can't have it like it can't go project shadows. Well, it can project shadows, but it can't be cut off, and you can't see beams of light. I don't know, I'm not that good at articulating this, but say you have a window and you want to see like beams of light coming through, like the visible light, then you would use volumetric. Visible kind of just goes through everything or stops. It's kind of just like phony volumetric light, but you can do some good stuff with it, and I use it all the time because it renders like 10 times faster than volumetric light. And then we don't want it to illuminate anything, we just kind of want it to be there, so let's go to include. So we're saying include this stuff, and there's nothing in there, so it's not going to illuminate anything. So let's go to the top view, and then like we want it starting from our fake horizon. So let's put it way out here. Actually, there's an easier way to do this, because we always want it to face the camera. So we'll go to our tags, and we'll add a look at camera tag. And then what we want to do is make the visibility like huge. So let's pull this out like way over here, and then let's also make it wider, something like that. And let's take a look and see what that looks like. You can see a little bit of this light like creeping over, just a little bit. And again, oh, it's way down here. We're going for a subtle look. We're not going for super something super strong. We just kind of want like that distant light, you know, that maybe you would get at a sunset or like dawn or something. So, yeah, that's pretty good. We can do some other things if we want to add ground fog. I mean, I'll try it and see how it looks in the scene, but it doesn't always work. It's just like kind of a ground fog hack that I came up with. So how about let's pull this way out there and just see how that looks. Sometimes you got to do that. Okay, that looks a little better. And maybe, how big is this? Let's try this. Let's try making it super huge, but then pulling this out like that. Okay, I'm kind of liking that. Looks a little better. So then, you know, we could have our monster up here on the horizon or something, and he'd be silhouetted and look kind of, you know, scary. So then we just need, let's put this distant light. So now we just need some kind of fill light. So why don't we use nature's fill light and just make a moon. So we're going to go to the easy, cheap way and just use an omni and set it to like 20. And the moon should be some kind of bluish color. just a little bit of blue like that. We'll go ahead and turn shadows on and leave them at their default, and let's just grab this and like put it over here somewhere just to see how that looks. So, you know, it's starting to look a little better. So, but then we can go position our moon up higher and see what that does. So it looks a little better. You know, we have some fill light, we can see stuff. Maybe we'll turn it down to like this. So yeah, that's like a decent little scene for this. Again, we're not trying to do super realistic ultimate lighting or something, because I did the whole scene so fast, the textures aren't that good and everything, the modeling is not that good, so we'll try to hide it in our lighting. And then our compositing. So I'll give it a try though. I'll try to do the ground fog thing and just see how that looks. So, and again, this is another hack. This isn't like if you wanted to do real fog, you'd have to do like some kind of liquid system, or which Cinema 4D doesn't have built in. I think it's part of liquids. Like in Max and Maya, it's like fume effects that does like gases and stuff like that. So we're just gonna make some fake stuff with a square parallel spot. So it's like this weird square spotlight. Let's point it up and then make it really big, like to cover our whole scene. Let's go into the top. I'll go like this and then pull it down some. So imagine the fog's coming out of this and it's going to go up this high. So something like that. And then let's set it to include, so it doesn't illuminate anything. Again, we just want it for its visibility, that whole thing. I don't care about your feelings, I just want you for your visibility. Okay, so we want it blue too. Let's turn it down a little bit and let's go visible. Crank up the dust. I don't even know if that does anything, but it makes me feel good. And then here's our visibility distance, like that. And then on this one, we're going to add, you can add noise to like your visible or volumetric lights. And it's not illuminating anything, so let's just set it to visibility. And then let's just try making it a little bigger. And you can actually add movement too. So like, if we go like that, wind velocity, then the noise is going to be moving a little bit. Let's see how this looks. I can't see it. Where are you, fog? Let's just crank it to 100 so we can see where it is. Okay. So, you know, kind of looks like fog, but it's making our scene too bright. And maybe this noise, we'll tweak the contrast of the noise like that. And maybe the noise shouldn't be so big. Let's see. Once we start seeing ripples in it, we know it's too... Yeah, that looks pretty good. Now, the thing is, we can go look from here too to see how high the fog is going. No, we can't, because our majestic mountains are blocking it. Let's try it from here. Oh, I see. Yeah, that's pretty high. So let's bring it down some. Let's see if it makes a difference if it's like this. Kinda, and you can see now it looks a little more like fog over there. But let's go a little bit higher, and let's go a little bit bluer, and let's turn our brightness down to like 50. We might not end up using this, I just wanted to see, because it, meh, what do you think? Nah, I say screw it. Okay, well, I just wanted to, you can use that sometimes, so it's something you can mess around with, and when you're doing it, mess around with the noise, scale, and stuff like that, because in the film, in my last film, I actually got one to look pretty good. Actually, let me go see if I can find that file and drop it in here, and we'll look at the settings. Okay, so now that we have our scene kind of lit, now we can go kind of just test it out by, what I usually like to do is just go move the camera around and do some renders and look at it from different angles and just see what it looks like, and then you can kind of figure out like, oh wait, I need lights over here, lights over there. Um, so let's just go around and look at it, because most of it will take place in the center here, where these people will be. But you can see this outside part is really dark. So we can try turning up our ambient moonlight a little more, which makes it a little better. That's actually okay. So we can just go look from a couple different angles and see what this looks like. But you know, it looks like some spooky place in the dark. We can tweak with it in After Effects too. Then you could even try different lenses, so we can go to a standard 50mm lens. See what that looks like. So maybe this is the point of view of the monster or something. So that looks decent for the amount of time and that we're putting into it. So there's one more thing that we could try with the lights too, is to try to layer some like moon beams in here. Those are hit or miss though, depending on the scene. So let's try to make some volumetric streaks of like moonlight cutting across our scene. So let's turn it into a spotlight, and we want volumetric light this time, no shadow. Include, because we don't want it to illuminate anything. And no, we probably want to make it thinner and go up to top view. And again, this light's going to go like forever, because we want it to look like beams of moonlight just kind of crisscrossing or cutting through the scene. So we can go to our other perspective view and go link active objects and actually look through the light. So let's do this. I can see it better. So this one will maybe be, let's do this one closer. And then kind of like this. And just let's see what that looks like. So it's a little bright, and it looks like it has some green in it or something. So it's at 100%. Let's try 56. That doesn't look that bad. So let's call this moon spots, and then let's go look at our scene, because usually what's nice to do is to layer them. So you can have like one like here illuminating this front part, or not illuminating it, but adding some light in there. Then we can probably turn down our other moonlight, let's see, and do a little balancing act. Okay, and then let's see, let's look at it again. Let's try making this one a little thinner so it's not lighting all this stuff up, and then let's duplicate it, make another one going the other way like this, and try to get this part back there. Let's go to this perspective view, but then do link active objects so we can switch to the other one and go like this. I don't even know if you can see that from this view, but let's check it out. So you can see it kind of adds some more depth, and it's doing what you can do in post too, is that it's making the stuff in the distance have less contrast. So that looks pretty good. And then if we want to, we can move this around, so we could just highlight both of these and press Alt G. And let's rename this volume. And then we could rotate it, but I'm just going to go ahead and make two of them, and then when we have a shot over here, we'll move the lights over. Or actually, yeah, let's just do that. So I'm just going to move the lights for every camera setup. But let's just go in here and see what this looks like now. Let's see if it looks like a place where there would be a monster creeping or something. Yeah, it looks alright. But alright is good enough for this one. Let's go like that and like that. Actually, we can add some noise in the visibility too to break it up a little bit. So we can just highlight both of them because we want to change it in both of them, and then turn the visibility on, give it a little less contrast. Then let's see what it looks like this. Now you see the noise here. You see that, like this kind of billowing. So this made it look better, but you see it's kind of too small. The scale's too small because you can actually see it. So let's try 300. Okay, so that actually looks a lot better now, I think. So here's our spooky little set that this horrible thing is going to take place. And actually, should we make a moon too, like to put in the scene, or should we do it in post? We'll do it in post because yeah, our camera won't be moving around that much. But if you want to make a moon, the easiest way is just to make a sphere, and then if you go online, you can actually find like NASA photos of like the moon, and they're like perfectly mapped like cylinders or whatever. So you can just get, or it's like it's like the entire moon image, and then you just map it on a sphere, and then like you have the moon, and you put it in your shot. I don't think. Well, let me look and see if I have a moon on here. I just thought of one more thing. Maybe we could we'll see what it looks like. We'll take this little wooden lamp, and then I just stuck a light in there did the espresso thing so it kind of flickers. And let's try to put that on like a rock or something next to where the people are going to be. Let's just see how that works. Let's put this lamp in here. Oh my god, it's the world's most gigantic lamp. Let's scale that down. See, that's what's awesome about 3D, because if you accidentally like bought a gigantic lamp for your set and then you're like, oh no, it's too big, you can't, just press T and scale it down like you can in 3D. So let's go put it over here on this rock where it should be flat. And also, yeah, in 3D too, like, I could just go flatten this rock out too, or like move a point and make it work. There. So don't forget that on your sets you are like God. So let's get this little lamp, and let's see, it's inverse square. Let's have it illuminate about that much. Oh, that's the illumination. This is the visibility. Let's go back over here. See what it looks like from far away. Dun, 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 dun. Oh, it looks screwed up because we are not running parallel to our fog lights anymore. Where are those? Hey, camera, don't go underground. Because remember I said I was going to just move the lights. So if you look and you see that it's kind of running with them now, so then we can just go, I'm sure you could make some script or something that will make them stay in the right position, but we don't really care. Looks fine. Okay, so we just want the lamp to have a little more visible light or something, maybe like that much, and we'll let him illuminate some more stuff too. Maybe. So we get some of the shadow on there. Okay, so there's our set. And then we can tweak the brightness and contrast and stuff like that after the fact. So this will be our little set where the horror, the unspeakable horror will take place. So next tutorial, I think we're going to make Boxman into an actual man, so he can be a character. Then we have to make Boxwoman like his girlfriend that will make us millions of dollars. So we're gonna have to do some interesting things to her too, and then we'll just be moving on with this. So I hope you're following along and making this stuff. And let's take some yellow out of this because it was annoying me. I can't take that. I just can't. Okay, that's better. So I hope you're following along so we can go ahead and make this little thing. And yeah, until next video, I'm Dot String saying peace out.